Rivers are classified in grades of 1 to 6. 1 being moving water that's very simple and straightforward. Class 6 being the extreme limits of what is navigable. You might find a Class 1 on any sort of moving stretch that you could run in an open canoe with absolutely no experience. Class 2 will look a little more like this. You'll have some waves, possibly some rocks, but pretty much straightforward, stay in the middle, the current will take you where you want to go. Once you move into the Class 3 realm, you're actually going to have to do some maneuvering, possibly around rocks, possibly around holes, and maybe some big waves that could swamp a canoe or flip your kayak. Once you move into the Class 4 realm, the route is going to be hard to see from your boat. Most of the time on Class 4, you're going to want to get out and take a look at the route so that you can tell where you want to go and what obstacles could possibly be there that you absolutely have to avoid. On a Class 5 section, not only are you not going to be able to see the route from your boat, but you're also probably going to have to set yourself some safety. There could be features or hazards in the river that you absolutely have to avoid to protect yourself from injury. On Class 5 rapids, it's best left to the experts, and it's always good to set a rope and have friends that know rescue skills. In a Class 6 rapid, these rapids are rarely run and usually by teams of experts using all possible safety precautions from the bank. A lot of times a Class 6 rapid will only be run occasionally at optimum water conditions, not necessarily something you just bomb into day after day once you're familiar with it. A good thing to keep in mind though is that anytime you're in moving current, whether it's Class 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you can encounter hazards that will upgrade the danger quite a bit. It could be a tree across the river, it could be just a log sticking straight upstream, or it could be a rock that's got an undercut corner to it. Anytime you're in moving current, you need to be aware that there could be a class danger just under the surface or possibly on the bank. So always know where you're going, and always check ahead of where you're going to make sure that downed tree is not in your path. Paddling is a team sport, and it's incredibly dangerous to boat alone. That means that every time you go boating, you're going to be involved with other people. If you don't know the skills and experience of these other people, you need to find out before you get to the foot end of the river and start making your way down. What if one of these people you just teamed up with doesn't have a role? What if they've never thrown a throw bag? Or what if they have no idea where to go on the river but continue to try to lead the way? These are things you can consider when choosing your party. Once you've chosen your party, it's a good idea to find out as much as you can about the skill levels and experiences of the people in your group so that you'll have a better time on the river. Things to discuss would include where you're putting your car keys in case trouble arises down the road, who's got a breakdown, who's got what for safety equipment, making sure every member of your party has a throw bag, and also the river signals which you're going to use. It's less important which signals you use and more important that everyone in your whole group knows what those signals are going to mean when they see them. Some basic rules of the river, they're going to be in common with whatever group that you encounter, is that you are responsible for the boater behind you. Anytime you look back and the person behind you is not there, you are absolutely required to stop where you are. No matter what the person downstream is signaling, no matter if you can't see where they went around the next bend. In this way, if someone does get in trouble in the back of the pack, the member in front of them will stop, the member in front of them will stop, and it will travel its way up to the group leader. Otherwise, you may be tempted to look back and see that the person behind you is getting a little further back, but you may turn back and keep paddling, and pretty soon, you're miles from the back of the group to the front of the group, and that is not a safe group experience. Some other things to consider is that while you are responsible for the person behind you, you're also responsible for showing them where to go. Anytime you get a river signal, go right, go left, boof, whatever it is, you are 100% responsible for passing that information along to the boater behind you and making sure they understand it. It doesn't matter that the person in front of you is paddling rapidly around the bend. You are responsible for this particular move, and until they get down to the eddy where they can hear you or get to the point where they can see your signal and gesture that they understand, you cannot go ahead and follow the people in front of you. Once again, this keeps the spread of information flowing backwards. It's kind of a natural tendency in any group situation for the weakest member of the group to drift back and get further and further behind the leader. Oftentimes the leader is the person who knows where they're going, and anyone who's been to grade school knows the more people a word or a sentence goes through, the more chances of getting it wrong by the time it gets around the classroom to the person in the back. Therefore, it's often a good idea to put one of the strongest paddlers, who may or may not be familiar with the river, to the very back of the run. That way, the people who are having trouble, are feeling more nervous, and are more in need of the best information possible can still get it. On either Class 1 and 2 water, it's really fun to drift along with your friends so that you can carry on a conversation, enjoy the moment together. But as you progress past Class 2, more like to Class 3 water, where eddies are becoming more important to catch, and some scouting may be involved, it's very important to keep an eddy between you and the person in front of you. If you happen to enter a rapid right next to the person in front of you, and they catch a one-boat eddy, there won't be room enough for you to stop. Or if they were to encounter a hole or a tree or a rock, you're going to pile right on top of them, making the incident a lot worse than it has to be. Therefore, anytime you're paddling water that has rocks, turns, rapids that make it impossible for you to see every single feature in the rapid, you need to keep an eddy between you and the person in front of you that you can catch should some sort of incident happen.